it's Chris. How you doing? Coming at you with a Tireside chat. We've had a very, very busy week. Been traveling literally all over the state of North Carolina and South Carolina. Really sick and tired of traveling right now. Not going to travel again until at least January or February. I'm not even going anywhere for my birthday. That's how tired of driving I am. It's bad. So anyway, this week had an interesting machine. Something that I could have, that I might have been able to fix. I always think about, well, what did you do right? What did you do wrong? How could you have gotten done faster? And of course, in hindsight, I always think, oh, well, if I'd just done this one thing first, I would have been okay. But I got this machine in the early part of the week, and it would boot up, and that's about all it would do. It would go to the desktops, Windows 8, which, oh my goodness, I hate Windows 8. And it's Windows 8, it hadn't been updated. I guess, I don't know if they don't use the computer very much or what, but, and so, put my window down here since I've arrived at my destination, but I have a few minutes. It boots to the desktop, and then basically won't do anything. You could click on the icons, and they would light up, but they would light up like halfway lit up. Like there's always that little animation where you click on an icon, and then finally the animation would finish, and that gives you some indication of how slow it was going, that you could actually watch that icon animation like pretty much frame by frame, and then but then if you waited a half an hour, whatever you clicked on might come up. And so when you have a computer like that, that makes it very difficult to do anything, do any diagnostics, because you can't run the diagnostics. It's like a chicken and an egg. If I could run my diagnostics, I could find out what was wrong, but what's wrong is so bad I can't run my diagnostics. So what I finally did, I got, if you're familiar with alternative operating systems, Linux is one of those, and many of the distributions of Linux, it's a little too much to get into right here for the purpose of this video, but many of the distributions of Linux come on what's called a live CD, which means you pop the CD into the CD drive, you boot to the CD, and then it comes up, and it's pretty much a full-featured Linux operating system as it would be installed on your hard drive. And so it's like an operating system on a disk. It's a little bit limited in what it can do, but for the purpose of doing diagnostics and things like that, it's really great. Now, the only bad thing about diagnostics is that it's Linux, and of course it won't run Windows diagnostic programs, and so there's not a whole lot you can do. But one thing you can do is you can go into a Windows file system, and you can delete files that I know from personal experience don't need to be on the computer. And so that's exactly what I did. I booted into Linux, and now I have to sneeze. I booted into Linux. Oh man, that was a good one. I just sneezed. I edited out the sneeze, I'm sure. I don't know. I booted into Linux, went into the Windows file system, deleted programs. It's like, you go to the C drive, and most people are not familiar with doing things like this because because Windows does its best to hide this from people. It's not right out there on the desktop like it used to be. And so I went in and deleted all the bad known programs out of the program files directory, went into the program data directory, deleted all those files that I knew didn't need to be there. Then you go into the user directory and you delete all the temporary Internet Explorer files and temporary Chrome files and temporary, all these things are where viruses hide. And so once you're familiar with where the viruses and other bad stuff hides, you can go in and you can manually delete. And usually I'm pretty good about getting most of it, doing it that way. So I did that and rebooted the computer, and it ran a lot better. But as I would go to install my diagnostics program onto the hard drive, it would freeze. CCleaner would freeze it up every time. I did manage to get Malwarebytes installed and ran that, and it found some stuff, but it wasn't anything serious. I did get the disk defragmenter loaded, and that was good, and I started running that. But as soon as I hit the CCleaner button, everything locked up. And so I'm thinking, well, what's going on? And so my only real alternative, well, then I'm thinking, the next train of thought is bad hard drive. It must have a bad sector or two. And that is a classic indication of a hard drive that's going bad. You know, you'll start it up, it'll run okay, and then all of a sudden you'll go to do something, and it will stop running. And it may start again, you know, like right where it left off after a couple minutes, but this was locked up permanently. I let it sit there for half an hour. It was still at the same spot that it was when it locked up. So you're looking at that point, and I'm starting to think, bad hard drive. Well, I can't check the hard drive because I can't load my hard disk diagnostic because it won't load either. And so I had the bright idea to run CheckDisk, and CheckDisk is a utility that's built, that comes with Windows. It's built into it. Well, it's a program, but it comes in the operating system, and it will check the file system for errors. It doesn't check the hard drive surface for errors, but it does check the file system for errors. So when CheckDisk is done, the file system is in good working order. And so not being able to run hard drive diagnostic, that's the next best thing that you can do. So I ran that, and it did in fact come up with bad sectors, not bad sectors, bad file, had file problems in like 4 or 5 files. And a couple of them were in system folders. And so I thought that could be it. So I ran the option to fix all the errors, as I always do. I don't just check it and then run it again to fix them. You just check it, you just fix them right away. It's automatic. And so did that, got finished, rebooted well. Looked good. Started looking good. Went to install CCleaner and installed. Ran CCleaner, found, you know, typical CCleaner stuff. Now I'm running the disk defragmenter, and I'm also running a system file checker, which is another tool that comes in Windows. CheckDisk makes sure that the files that are there are not corrupted. System file checker checks to make sure that all the files that are supposed to be there are there. And that is one nice thing about Windows 7 and up, is that you don't, if you had Windows XP or before, you'd have to get your install disk out. XP, you could repair a file system. Before that, you couldn't repair, you had to reinstall if you were missing system files. Or if you were pretty bright, you could go in and figure out which files were missing and install them manually. But who wants to do that? Nobody. That's who. And so I'm running the system file checker to make sure that all the Windows system files that are supposed to be there are there. And but the way the computer's running right now, it's running the way it should. I mean, it's quick. I mean, it's not an old computer. It's like I said, it's a Windows 8 computer, so it's 2012, 2013 vintage, and it's snappy, and it's running the way it should. So I think we've got this one licked. But you know, if you are working on a computer and you have some basic technical ability, then running CheckDisk is a good. If your computer's running but it's not quite running right, that's a good. If you're experiencing a lot of lag, or if you're experiencing kind of locked up situations occasionally but not all the time, like your computer's running pretty good, and then all of a sudden it's not running pretty good, and then it may or may not run pretty good again until you restart it. Run CheckDisk. It's CHKDSK is the name of the program. To go ahead and fix errors, it is CHKDSK space your hard drive letter, which is generally C. I don't remember the last time I saw a hard drive, a boot drive that wasn't labeled C. Colon space /R. And that will automatically, it'll scan and fix any errors it finds, and then you won't have to, then it'll be done. And if it doesn't find any errors, then you know you've got other problems somewhere. If it does find errors, then your next step would be to reboot the computer, see how it works, and wait a couple days. If it works fine, run CheckDisk again and see if it finds any more errors. If it doesn't find any more errors, then it was just hey, you shut your computer down with the power switch, or you had a power failure in your house and the computer cut off. If it does find more errors, again, it's probably an indication that your hard drive's going bad and you need to think about replacing it like really quick. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Gosh, I sit down to do these videos and I think I can get this done in 5 minutes, and I never do, because it's just a little bit more involved in that, isn't it? I mean, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, that's the Tireside chat for today. If you have any questions or comments, please do so in the section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate it when you do, and we will see you on the next one.